View from the Gutters, episode 115. Welcome to View from the Gutters, the comic book podcast where each episode we discuss a collected edition, trade paperback, or graphic novel, and then recommend and vote on the book for the next episode. Warning: the discussion portion of this show has massive spoilers for that book. On this episode, we discuss Superman Unchained, and to skip ahead to the recommendation section, skip to 114.44. Are you guys ready? Episode 115.
Whoa.
I'm Andrew Chard.
I'm Joe Preti.
I'm Tobiah Panshin.
Brant Gillihan-Eddy.
And I'm Cade Reynolds.
Woo! And we are back again.
No Kaylee?
No Kaylee.
I'm back, motherfuckers!
She decided she was too cool for school.
She was too busy ordering Captain America-themed dresses off the internet.
That's fair. That's what I was going to do tonight.
Yeah, that's a way better use of time.
I prefer corsets to dresses.
Let's cancel this.
Well, I mean,
apparently
shopping
Hot
to do.
Topic has a new line that looks really awesome.
Oh,
whatever.
yeah. I think Kelly Oakler got a Loki dress.
Yeah, they've got all of them.
Yeah, they're
when
sweet.
did Hot Topic... What?
It's Hot
That's
Topic
such a-
and somebody else.
It's such a weird... when I think about what Hot Topic was when I was young, and then it just became this slowly encroaching thing where they basically just have absorbed my entire childhood / adulthood and have commodified it in this way that's both equal parts exciting and very scary.
Because they're trying to
I-
appeal to the same crowd they had 20 years ago.
Yeah, maybe.
I made the exact same comment about 10 years ago, although perhaps not quite so artfully stated, when I saw this like incredibly awesome Zelda hoodie there.
Yeah.
That was like $65.
Yeah.
And I screamed bloody murder that Hot Topic could take my childhood from me,
Yeah.
repackage it, and then try and sell it for more than I could afford.
I didn't know
buy
that.
Which just
they
no,
had-
Did you buy
no,
it?
I didn't, because I couldn't afford it. Which
I mean,
is what pissed me off so
you
much. 'cause I
can
wanted
rest
that goddamn
assured that
hoodie.
it was not a very well-made hoodie.
Probably not.
Also, I didn't know they could steal your childhood. I didn't know they had time travel.
Well, that's how they stay in business.
Well, I remember when
They use
Hot
those
Topic,
little time pods from Time Cop?
definitely those.
They do.
I remember when it was the only place you could get like Nintendo and
And comic book themed stuff
Like, that was
without
it.
them and Spencer's, which was funny because in the mall here, they're right next to each other. So it's
Yeah.
like, which store will I go into for my comic-related pair?
But
right
that,
now?
I mean,
Yeah.
in the 90s, like late 90s, that was like the only place I got like you could get, and now there's like billions of.
it was also
them,
one of the
so-
only places at one point where it was easy to buy certain kinds of music that I listened to, like heavy metal or alternative metal and new metal.
What, you didn't shop at
Phantom City Records? No.
name of any old record store that now doesn't
Tower
have
Records.
anymore?
There wasn't a Tower Records in Olympia, as far as I know.
What was
No.
the one that started with the B?
They also like
Brr,
to sell
brr,
trademark
brr.
material
Oh, well, there
without
was
paying.
There was
Sam
like,
Goody
well, there's-
in the
oh,
mall,
okay, yeah,
but
yeah.
like they didn't have anything half the time.
I bought cassettes there once, I think.
does anyone else miss Suncoast? Just me.
No.
No.
I bought overpriced anime DVDs there.
Well, that's
I mean,
the one
all
part I
DVDs
kind
were
of,
overpriced.
Kirby
bought
bought overpriced hentai DVDs there.
Yeah, well, that's the best kind of hentai to get.
Oh, are we rolling out our new show, View from the Gutters at Night?
yeah.
Yes, we are.
After dark.
I
It's
thought
like the
that
main
was
show, but with
just
more
what View from
Oh,
the
wait,
tentacles.
Gutters
wait, wait.
was.
I have a question. Do we have any
Testicles or
sponsors
tentacles?
for this episode, Tobias?
Yes, we do. I was actually going to get to that. Thank you
Fucking
to
smug
our-
ass segue.
We weren't done talking about tentacle porn. Sorry.
God damn it.
Thank you to our episode sponsors, Tony Cortero, Addison Appleby, Brian May, and all of our other lovely Patreon members.
Yes.
Thank
And
you guys
listeners,
so
thank
much.
you.
We love you. Except you. You know what you did.
Yeah.
And
We're
for
waiting
those
for
of
an
you-
apology.
You can't prove anything.
And for the rest of you, we're sorry that we mentioned tentacle porn so closely to your name.
We also have an additional announcement from Cade. Cade?
So I have a really nice, neat story of something that happened to me in the last week that really made me love the business that we're in, comic books.
Yay.
So it starts out on a little sour note, and that is I ordered a comic book on eBay, and I got the wrong comic book sent to me.
Those bastards.
But I contacted the seller, and they ended up being some of the most awesome people ever. They let me keep the wrong stuff they sent, and then sent me the stuff I ordered.
Wow.
And just like that, and they're like, "We hope you were satisfied with our customer service." I was like, "Hell
No,
yeah."
not really.
So
Really would have been better if you sent me more things.
Yeah, I wanted to give a shout out to Comics on the Green in Scranton, Pennsylvania.
Woo!
Scranton.
Yeah, Pennsylvania.
Damn it. God damn it.
All right, you two need to be separated.
I tried.
We're on the bad
like
side of the classroom.
Fucking Al Pacino in The Godfather 3. You guys keep pulling me back in.
I'm not doing shit.
So I just wanted to say thanks. That was awesome. For all you listeners, go check out their eBay store. They've got some awesome stuff, like complete runs of comics from the 70s, 80s, 90s.
Cool.
Tons of variant and out of print, hard to find stuff. If I had a lot of money, I would probably spend it all there. Woo!
Nice.
Bye.
As we would all.
Yep.
And now that that's out of the
They
way,
had like a 40-issue run of Punisher Warzone for like $20. The 80s Punisher Warzone.
Is that the good one? I haven't read Warzone.
Yeah, I mean, I was
was-
going to say, which is $20 more than I would pay for it, but that's just me.
well, now that that's out of the way, we were talking about tentacle porn.
Yeah.
Which
We were.
I mean, Superman Unchained.
Yeah.
The tentacle porn. Or
In which not only are there no tentacles, but there's also no chains.
Yeah.
Well, he
it's metaphorical. Change.
Yeah, they're like...
Oh, no, I got it.
He's
It's
off the chain.
He is not in a relationship with Wonder Woman in this one.
Yeah.
so
Yes,
he's
it's true.
there's
unburdened.
He's unchained. That's what the title means.
Yeah, you
oh
didn't
my
get it?
God, it's perfect.
It's a big deal.
So, Cade, you pitched this book. So, would you like to start us off?
Yeah, okay. So I read it today again. I read it previously before I pitched it. I dig it. I actually do. You can say some things about Jim Lee, but
He's slow.
Some things.
Jim Lee is a man who works at DC Comics.
He's the
Jim Lee
editor-in-chief of
is a
Wealth.
man of Asian descent.
These are all facts.
That's true. Nobody is
but
disputing
I
that.
think that my room has 2 posters by Jim Lee, and I think that he does a great job with cover work and poster work, and a few of the end scene pictures in this book were great. I love the moment where he steps out with the super armor on with the pick and the shield. Like, I can see Toby over there grimacing, but
Well, because it was fun and exciting.
I wasn't so much grimacing as I wanted to say something, but I don't want to interrupt you.
oh, okay.
So please continue with your
No,
point.
I loved that. I wish I had that as a poster. That's what I want.
It'd be a sweet cover. Like, he did that Infinite Crisis cover with Superboy Prime, where he's got, like, all of their stuff on, and regardless of whether that story is good or not, like, that cover was awesome.
That's fair.
So,
Yeah.
Although my favorite cover with a superhero having accoutrement that does not belong to them is, I think it's Avengers versus JLA versus Avengers 3. And it's Superman
Wielding Thor's
wielding
hammer.
fucking Mjolnir and Cap's shield. And he's
Yes.
just like screaming. And you know that shit is going down.
I have to say, I read the deluxe edition of this, I think, which had Lee's original pencils in it. And I thought his pencils were a lot stronger than the finished product.
Yeah, who inked him on this?
Scott Williams, they work together a lot.
yeah.
Yeah.
They've been working together for like 20 years.
Team, I feel
and
like.
what's interesting is that, so that's what I thought. So I was kind of surprised because Williams inked Lee when he was doing Azzarello's Superman.
Yes.
Which
Superman
I've
for
been-
tomorrow.
Yeah, I've been trying to
Or
recommend
Man
that on the
of
show for a while.
Tomorrow.
Something like
it's
that.
For
Man,
tomorrow.
Man
But
for
but
tomorrow.
this
It's
felt
just
more
for tomorrow.
Yeah, for tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
And this felt like scratchier than that.
It did.
And I think Hush, they did it scratchier than this, and that worked there.
Right.
I didn't like that as much here. I wish they would have done it a little more clean. Because I agree. I think Lee's, quite frankly, of the original like Image founder types, I feel like Lee's the only one who's managed to walk away having a good ability to render his stuff.
Yeah, but I feel like it looks like I could open up X-Men #1 and I can open up any one of the 3 books you noticed and the art. I just don't feel, when I was 15, Jim Lee was a god. Now
hasn't grown.
he's just been, he hasn't grown as an
Well,
artist.
the thing is that
or at least his style is somewhat static.
he's incredibly consistent. which I think is a positive in and of itself.
And he has
Complete
problems
detail.
with emotion.
But I feel like Lee is one of those people where when he came onto the scene, he looked really different from everybody else.
Yeah,
and so
absolutely.
his work stood out. And he hasn't changed that much in 20 years.
And a lot
He's
of people
still,
have tried to emulate.
Right, but styles have shifted so that now other people are aping him, and so his stuff doesn't stand out like it used to. And in that sense, it feels stagnant because it's like you open it up and you're like, well, it looks like everything else at DC because he's setting the style.
If you look at like work by Stepan Sajic or I'm totally spacing on his name, Uncanny X-Force. Why can I not remember his name?
Yes.
Or like, which I kind of feel came directly out of that. Like, it's you know, these were guys that were reading Jim Lee's work in the 90s.
Assad Ribic definitely.
Yeah, Assad Ribic
in that house.
And so like I don't feel that he's bad by any stretch.
Right.
I just kind of I guess I'm bored by him, which could be easily me as much as him, you know.
There's two things.
Go ahead.
About Jim Lee's art that you notice. One is once you open it, you're like, I've seen this. It's Jim Lee before, which I find sometimes is good. Like Toby says, very consistent. You know, like I know what I'm getting into when
it can be comforting in the right context.
But at the same time, I'm like, it's Jim Lee. I kind of feel like I've seen this before. But now it's got the veneer of the New 52 over it, which I'm not a big fan of. But two is he still hand shades everything.
Yeah.
And in an era where he's working with an awesome inker and probably, I think, arguably the best colorist in the industry, Alex Sinclair, for like straight up superhero stuff. You can let the color do some of the work for you.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think that this book would benefit enormously if they just went colors right on top of the pencils.
Yeah.
Oh, I agree. I mean, it feels, it does not have the pop that a lot of more modern comics have, and I think I kind of miss that. And I think it's what I think part of the problem with Jim Lee is that he's still doing things from a time when like you didn't necessarily have access to digital coloring. Yeah. So hand shading and stuff was a lot more useful. I feel like if he loosened up his pencils a little bit and let the color do more of the work, you could have some excellent work going on.
It would definitely look more modern.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, that's like I said, I mean, he's Jim Lee. You know, he's a legend. No matter what I think about his fucking character designs for the New 52, he's Jim Lee.
And at the end of the day, whatever I might think about this book, I don't think Jim Lee is the problem.
No.
And I'm going to be perfectly honest here. Joe and I were having a conversation last night about it. Well, no, Joe said it wasn't bad, but it wasn't good either. And I said, it's bad because it isn't good. And I feel like one of the greatest crimes that a work of art can commit is banality. To make me feel nothing. To make me feel bored. And like, it's not even that I hated it. I just wish I was reading literally anything else.
I remember having that argument when we read... What was the webcomic that we read that you recommended?
Was it Superhero Girl?
It was Superhero Girl. Now, what was the good one we read? That was like that.
Strong female protagonist
was the good one. That one was awesome.
Yeah.
Superhero Girl,
It was light.
I made that, but I remember saying that like I think the worst thing a work can do is make you feel nothing.
Yes, absolutely.
So, side note to both of those.
Yeah.
Because I agree with you. However, is that the work or is that you? Because, say I don't particularly love rom-coms. If I read a rom-com and I feel nothing at the end of it, is that my fault?
I'll let Toby finish and then
I'll respond to what Chard said. I think you have a point, but I feel like at this point in at least my tenure within the show and within our friendship, I've established the fact that I read superhero comics. I enjoy superhero comics. I'm not coming at this from the position of, well, I don't really care about superheroes, so I don't really feel anything about this book. Like, this is a genre and a character who I have an expansive history with.
Yeah.
And to read this and go, wow, this just is the most boring turd that I could think of. Like, why am I reading this?
And I wonder
that feels like that. I think that makes it bad, at least from my perspective.
Well,
I didn't like it.
It's more. I think,
and it's not that like I read any part of it and went, "Wow, this is off." Like, oh my god, he fucked all of these things up. It's like I don't care. This is so boring. I've seen all of these things before.
I have.
Yes, but we haven't seen all of these things in the New 52.
Well,
but that.
See, this is my problem, and I knew you were going to fucking say this. And you know what? I just have to say this. I'm not raising my voice because of the book. I'm saying this. People said that episode 3 was better than the first 2. But you know what? Stepping in 3 pieces of dog shit may be better than stepping in 5 pieces of dog shit, but you're still stepping in fucking dog shit.
Are you talking about Star Wars?
Yes.
Okay, just making sure.
I am, because that was like the whole thing. It's just like the fact that this takes place in the New 52 does not make it any better or worse than anything else. Like the story has to be taken on its own merit.
Context matters, though. I think context is a
agree.
massive part of this because
I think for the story that they had been telling, this is really good. I think that this steps him out of the character role that they had put him in for the last 3 years. And I think it's a much better story than they've been writing for the last 3 years.
Well, and I think that if we were going, Crisis Era Superman, there's so many good books I can name that were written in that time period about the Superman in continuity. I'm not talking about stuff like All-Star Superman, which is out of continuity story, doesn't count. Like Red Sun doesn't count. Like, I'm talking about in the continuity of that era. I like a lot of that. Mm-hmm. But really, when I'm going to hold stuff like, Kurt Busiek's Man of Steel up to this, I prefer Man of Steel because I was reading it at the time. But are there a lot of other stories I could hold up to this level that aren't like mired in the fact that it's continuity? Because this, while it is tied into the New 52 continuity, it still stands on its own. And so I think the takeaway at the end of the New 52, when it's all done, when this continuity doesn't matter anymore in 4 months, you can still read this.
The only Superman book I will still read.
You could still read this as a Superman story.
And that's the thing, is that I haven't been reading Superman, so I am coming at this very strictly from a perspective of continuity aside. Where does this stand against all of the other Superman books that I've read? And the point that I kept coming back to was, I've seen this before. I've seen this before. I've seen this before. Not just as an entire story, but specific moments. I felt like Snyder was picking and choosing all of the best moments from Superman and sticking them all into this story. Like, oh, we're going to take all the best things and we're going to put them all together. And instead of it being a collage of all these great things, I just felt like it was a lackluster imitation of the character that I love.
So, and I'm going to take that idea and run with it a little bit. I was thinking about what I wanted.
Please walk carefully with that idea.
No, I'm fucking all out.
I wouldn't want you to trip and put an eye out.
No, I'm going all out. I was thinking about what I wanted, like how I wanted to talk about this book, because it didn't really move me either way. Like, I'm not as passionate as Toby is about it, but I finished it last night and I was like, okay, that was a thing I read. I think the problem is here, because the last 3 Superman books I've read, or storylines, are Superman Grounded, Superman for Tomorrow, and this. And I have different issues with both of them. My issue with this is I don't think it's necessarily fair to compare it to other works. And I was talking about this with Curbotron a little bit before I came down. It's that this could be a really fun book. This could be, hey, we're going to put Superman in crazy Kryptonian battle armor, even though he's Superman and he doesn't really need it, and have him kick ass. But I felt like every time it started to go that way, Scott Snyder was like, hold on. Here's iconic Superman. Oh, did you see that? Did you see that iconic Superman right there?
We had been begging for
which
for
it's
4 years.
Fair, which is fair, but it's
fan service.
Tell the iconic Superman story, or tell the super fun Superman story, or be better at meshing them together.
And this is 9 issues of fan service.
Yeah, and
I see this,
and some of us, it was really awesome.
Fan service, and this is, I think, the problem is it is fan service, and I think fan service, you have to be careful the way you use it.
Yeah.
Because the line between homage and going, remember that really great moment when this happened? And going, I'm just going to borrow that really great moment. is like very, very thin.
A lot of Superman. Like, I really like Superman a lot. Mm-hmm. I didn't feel like this stuff was recycled. Like,
really?
Am I like totally lost in that? Because there's a lot of this that I did not feel like was recycled. Like, I don't remember the last time he was up against like this techno-organic terrorist organization that was dropping satellites from the sky, or launching all the nukes in the world, or like the one moment, the only
Joe
one
is talking about are the
beats,
the poster moments,
the story beats,
like the whole thing,
the irradiated Superman. Like, I get that's a reference to Dark Knight Returns. Like, where he's, like,
exactly.
floating through space.
Or when Luthor is pre-recording a message. It's right out of All-Star Superman when he, at the very beginning, when he's beaming his message to the sun because it's like 6 minutes away at the speed of light or whatever, and he has to time it exactly. Or when Superman and Lois are talking, and then he flies straight up into the air, is straight out of the end of All-Star Superman.
But are those moments that Grant Morrison borrowed from Superman's canon also? Because most of them are. And so, in one respect, you read a book that was basically just homage and fan service, and you were like, I love this. This is the best Superman story that's ever been told. And in another case, you're reading essentially another book that is fan service, borrowing all the greatest hits from Superman, and you hate it.
But it's about execution.
And I agree with that, but they're both super pandery. And I'm not going to deny I like one more than the other.
The thing about All-Star is, first, it's set out of continuity.
Yeah.
Which frees up a lot of shit.
Helps a ton.
And also, I feel like it's definitely an exploration of the Superman mythos.
Yeah.
I feel like my big problem with this is that when I look at the storyline, Kirby was like, what's it about? And I'm trying to tell her what's it about, and I'm like, fuck. Like, thinking back on the plot line, I kind of found it incredibly kind of convoluted.
There's like a couple things happening at once.
Yeah, I mean, it's just kind of weird. And I kind of felt like Lex Luthor had just kind of been thrown in there, piggybacking on the back, and I didn't buy his whole, like... And I guess that's just me. Like, I'll take responsibility for that. The whole, like, it's an equation, blah, 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 and I knew it the whole time. And, like, the whole, like, I'm breaking out of prison because I had a suit that I made out of this thing. And just, it felt very... You know, we talk about this a lot, right? It's about what you're willing to buy from the author. And it's just like, I wanted to say, all right, dude, and I just write the super fun Superman story that you clearly want to write. Mm-hmm. Don't worry. The iconic moments will find us.
I think part of it was a tone consistency.
Yeah.
Like All-Star Superman being another super fan servicey thing certainly had, to my sensibilities, its tongue firmly planted in its cheek, kind of with its eye on 1950s Superman,
look at the
but with a modern
of the first
sensibility.
issue.
And I feel like what's happening here is that, I mean, I don't have a particularly strong attachment to Scott Snyder's work, so I don't feel particularly bad when I say I feel like it's just kind of a lack of a good writing consistency that I think he was trying to get. Like, I felt like I was reading 1970s slapstick Joker / Lex Luthor, and then we're gonna do this, blah, 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 you know, and Jimmy, I've got you strapped to that table. But then also, like, the super, like, almost like executive Luthor, who's like, and I actually knew that there was this problem, Superman. Like, it's like, why am I getting more than one Luthor? Why am I getting more than one Superman? Why am I getting even more than one Lois Lane? And so that was part of my problem with this story, was that I love Superman.
Yeah.
I love Superman stories. I'm willing to forgive a lot, and I didn't like this book.
Yeah.
Because ultimately, I felt like there were attempts to... Here's the metaphor that I was working with, or maybe this is a simile, I don't remember. It was kind of like, Toby said a turd. I say a turd with diamonds in it. And I'm still evaluating whether or not getting all the diamonds out of it is worth it to me.
Yeah.
Because there are beats in this that I think are fucking amazing.
I agree.
Where I'm like, Scott Snyder, one of the reasons I love, like, Mark Waid's Birthright and some of the stuff that Rucka did with Planet Krypton and all these things is that I think it was Daniel Way maybe when he was writing Superman, or I may be mixing up my writers. Like, sometimes people can pull these little nuggets of truth, for lack of a better word, about that character, or some kind of, like, slightly different view of how that character might be able to function as an alien, but like in a human's body, kind of a thing. So, like, although it got a little bit too much, I really like the opening beats where he's like, okay, Clark, you gotta like hyper accelerate the thing and do stuff. It's like, right, Superman's not actually a moron. Like, this is one of the biggest things is that he's a really smart character. That's one of the reasons he's able to do something. Like, that's how they've come to explain, like, rather than the 1950s, like, he shoots a micro him out of his hand, or he just freezes time with his breath. It's like, no, he realizes that the static position of the atomic thing, he's got to make a whirlpool, or he's got to make a wave, he's got to freeze it within this amount of time to do that. Like, and I like that sense of tension. I like that interior monologue, although I felt it was a little clunky. So there's lots of those little things, like like even the main villain guy, Wraith, like some of the stuff he said where it's like, no, you have to like let go of your senses, think about the rest of the spectrum that you're not letting yourself see because you're not used to it. Like, you will figure these things out in time.
I think that character is really interesting.
See, and so Wraith feels like this really weird. So part of my problem with this book is its conceit. You have to buy off on the New 52 to get everything out of the book that it's intended.
And I will concede that.
Because and this is my problem, is that the thing I dislike about the New 52, some of the things that I dislike about the New 52 the most, is having to basically, like, I feel like right before New 52 happened, they had actually finally found the right tone for Superman. He was getting to almost be, in a sense, a mellower version of the Kingdom Come Superman. He had been around the block. He had known, he and there had been attempts to test the boundaries of his goody-goodiness, but like, he basically knew where his moral lines were. He knew where his power lines were, and he knew what he should and should not get involved in. And now it's like we're back to the, even Luther's monologue in the book about, he tries something and then he doesn't because he realizes it didn't work. Like, he's just a person who's just trying and failing.
Well, this is a young Superman.
And this is a young Superman. And it's like, then this should be Superboy. Like, I just have this.
Well, Superboy didn't exist in.
No, I know, but that's my issue. Is that it's like I'm not
in Crisis either. In the Crisis era.
No, I know, but what I'm saying is I didn't sign up for the adventures of I already read all of my coming of age Superman stories. I don't need more of them. And so there's a part of me that's like, and this is not only Scott Snyder's problem. This is actually a problem that DC has had for a long time in the hands of writers who can't figure out what to do with him. The solution to, I can't write a Superman story that's good enough on its own, is let me create a character who's actually more powerful than him, who teaches him how to be himself. Like, let's bring in a more powerful thing who's more destructive than him, so he realizes that it's his humanity that makes him think, like Zod.
Yeah.
So like For Tomorrow, like that's one, like I love Brian Azzarello, but For Tomorrow was just like, what?
Yeah.
Yes.
What do I need? Like, even the death of Superman, let's bring in this juggernaut of a thing who's more powerful than him, and he'll learn that, it's his ability to let go and then his hope that will endure. And it's just kind of like, you know what, guys? Tearing him down and building him back up, I don't actually think is the key to making Superman a successful character.
I agree.
And so I felt like this introduction of like, well, I've actually been here the entire time and I'm as powerful as you and I know what's right.
But he's wrong.
But
that's what I like.
He is wrong, but I felt like...
Because it felt like he was trying to set that up.
Yeah, I guess...
And then Wraith is wrong. Like, Superman actually is more powerful.
If this story had only been Wraith, I think I probably would have been more on board. But then to add in the other stuff with the thing, and then the other aliens and the Luther thing.
So convoluted.
The Wraith thing seems like such a cop-out of a antagonist, because it's like, he's like Doomsday, because he's big and green, and he's got all of Superman's powers, but he's stronger than Superman, and he's been around longer, and he's part of this government conspiracy called the Machine. Like, it just felt like there's never any tension there. Like, Superman never goes like, maybe he's right. He's like, no, you're wrong.
Yeah.
Well, then I would be totally willing to buy that if he was doing the like fun action comic book story. But it feels like Scott Snyder's like, I need to tell an iconic Superman story. And it's like, no, you fucking don't need to tell an iconic Superman story. Not everybody has an iconic Superman story in them.
Or the reality is that iconic Superman stories tell themselves. Like, the iconic part comes out of the you paying attention to the other beats.
And it feels, and the thing is that I feel like Scott Snyder is searching for his iconic Superman story in this. He's searching for that iconic Superman. And because he's got the New 52 Superman, it's like a clean slate. And he's trying desperately to like tell this Superman story in the context of stories like Birthright and like, all these ones that have come before. But it feels like he's flailing. Like there are so like the fucking beat where like Wraith is in the Bat Cave and all the sensors go off and it's the S and he's like, it's
this
a
is
symbol.
your signal.
And he's gonna kick your ass, and you're like,
it's like,
yes. Why isn't the whole book
actually,
like that?
See, I was like, no, fuck you. This is not some douchebag bro off. Batman does not go, and now he's gonna kick your ass. Like, there's no part where that character seems like the Batman character seems authentic, and there's no part of that's authentic to me. Like, if anything, like if I was reading the Superman book, where all of a sudden all the panels in the Fortress of Solitude go off and the bat symbol appears, and Batman's like, hi, bam, like that. I'm like, yeah, like Batman's totally fucking with you. But for Superman to be like, oh, I'm gonna put up my thimble, here I come, like it was just like, no. And this has been my problem with the tone of the New 52 is that, and what's interesting is that Scott Snyder did not have that tone for his Batman run for the most part, although it did
the first volume,
right? Well, and I didn't.
Court of Owls throwback.
Yeah, but it's that weird like broy like yo my boy Superman, and it's like, oh, shut the fuck.
But at the same time, they still hate each other.
Well, yeah.
So
no,
weird.
and that's the weird thing is that he did some of that stuff really well, like the monologue, the epilogue thing, which I don't even know if
With
it was
Dustin,
him.
it is him, but Dustin Nguyen.
Where he's like, I should destroy the suit you told me to, but I know that if anyone was going to tell me to keep it, it would have been you telling me that. Like, I'm like, yes, that is the real Batman moment here, but not Batman being like he's going to kick your goddamn ass. What? I'm the goddamn Batman. What? Like,
this actually dovetails really well with something that I wanted to bring up. That's only, I guess, tangentially related to Superman Unchained, which specifically goes to the point of tone. And it's in relation to DC and Marvel. Because for the longest time, Marvel was this setting where people really didn't trust superheroes. Yeah, sure, the Avengers are a sanctioned team, but even then, people don't necessarily trust them. People are always going like, Captain America, aren't you a puppet for the government? Like, you put Hawkeye and Black Widow and the Scarlet Witch and all of these people on the Avengers, and they're all criminals. Like, everybody fears and hates mutants. Spider-Man is pilloried in the news media. Like, people don't trust superheroes.
Tony
they're always
Stark,
going,
you're a weapons manufacturer.
what is your angle?
Right.
What are you really up to? And in contrast, DC was this place where people liked and respected superheroes.
Yeah.
They went like, Superman, you are a multinational symbol of truth and justice.
Hope.
Like, you have citizenship in every country. If you go to the UN and you say something, people will believe you and go, yes, Superman, we trust you. We're going to do what you say. And that was a general thing. Goddamn Center City built Flash a museum. To all his exploits.
Yep. Central City.
Yeah. Did I say Center
City?
Central City.
Yeah.
Like, it was just like Green Lantern. He's a space cop.
Yeah.
Like, he is lawful.
inherently
authority.
respected. Right.
And in recent years, with the New 52 especially, DC has been trying to flip the page on that and go like, oh, like Superman, like he's this alien, nobody trusts him, like he doesn't get along with the law.
Which they were trying to put a Frank Miller spin on it.
Yeah, and that has never worked for me. Like, that is completely, in my mind, antithetical to some of the basic axioms of the DC universe.
Well, it's funny that you'd say that, and I feel like this is only relevant because of the timing of our episode, relevant to other things. Like, frankly, I think the one take on this that's like that I'm actually willing to give a chance right now is actually
Dawn of Justice?
Batman versus Superman.
Because the way that first movie, and the way Man of Steel ends, you're kind of like, how does he, like, he walks away being like, I'm a higher-minded individual, I want to be here, I want to do good things, and like, you're kind of walking away, but like, yeah, you totally, like, screwed Metropolis up, and that was an epic fight, and there's some big questions about the way you do it. So if Zack Snyder's central conceit is people walking around being like, should we really trust the man who's got this level of power? Like, I'm willing to buy that. And I feel like they tried to do that with, Grant Morrison's initial run was kind of meant to be around that theme. But I think what was problematic for at least some readers was that wasn't, it's that thing where, reboot-itis, it's like, I don't want to go back and reinvestigate how he becomes the person I expect him to be. I want to have more stories about how he is the way I want him to be.
That's the thing, though, is that in that moment when Superman's about to come through and kicks Wraith's ass, I don't care about the fucking tone because it's the moment I want at that moment. Is it Batman's tone? No, absolutely not. Batman would set up this whole soliloquy that ended with like, there's your problem right there, or something Batman-y. Batman does not say Superman is coming to kick your ass. But I felt
No,
like
he just says, like,
I felt like the
"Do you
whole
bleed?"
oh God, can we not ever talk about that, please? As a digression real
I
quick.
really like Iron
I did
Man
not. There were
in that Superman trailer.
Yeah,
I think
that's
Iron
on
Man
his
looks.
way,
Oh
but I
no,
always
he
got
looks.
one question.
No, it's Lego Batman, Chard.
I think Iron Man looks sick in the new DC movie.
The two big trailers that came out last week, and of course, were Star Wars: The Force Awakens and Batman. Blah blah blah, and I really did not give a shit about either one of these movies. And then I saw people. I didn't even watch the fucking Star Wars trailer.
Wait.
I didn't even see the Star Wars trailer. I watched GIFs of people watching the Star Wars trailer, and their joy was so
Matthew McConaughey
genuine.
Looked so happy that the trailer happened.
At it that I actually watched it, and I watched it at Toby's house with Audrey. And I have to say that for the first time in fucking, not years, but decades, I am hopeful about a Star Wars movie, which is a very odd feeling, and I'm not comfortable with it at all.
I also highly recommend watching Starception, which is the Star Wars trailer remixed with the Inception trailer soundtrack, which is excellent.
Oh my God. But like, I saw, there's a gif of a priest watching it, and when Chewbacca walks out at the end, the just unadulterated joy, just happiness on his face speaks volumes about those characters. And I also watched the Dawn of blah blah blah, and I don't give a fuck about it even more now.
Bigger than Jesus.
I was just like, really? You're gonna that's what you're going with, huh? Okay. Good luck with that. So,
I really hope
anyways,
it's a big misdirect.
it is. It's going to be like sunshine and lollipops. The
No,
whole
I'm
thing.
just hoping that fight, the Batman versus Superman part of the movie, is the first 20 minutes, and then it's all set up to Justice League.
Well, I mean, that would have to be the rest of the movie. They've got
I
so
feel
many
like it would
fucking
be boring.
characters.
Well, and that's
Either way,
and that's the thing is that I mean, as much as I liked this Force Awakens trailer, it's like I can see, there's a lot of interesting information coming out. We'll wait and see. The thing about like Batman v Superman, I'm relatively optimistic. I'll go on the record. I'll go on the record as saying that I liked Man of Steel, and I'd be happy to talk about it at length at some point if we want to do a special episode about what I think they do okay with that.
I liked it.
But I also know a lot. I know, especially in the last few years, there's been a lot more emphasis and conversation because the internet has made this possible around like the reality that in a lot of cases marketing teams have nothing to do with the filmmaking process, and so like I can imagine that Batman's line like "Do you bleed?" is in the moment after he's taken a cruise missile and he's kneeling next to him being like, I don't see any wounds, do you bleed? Like asking a question, but they like put it on him in the other scene to make it be like, do you bleed?
No, that's definitely
like there could be all kinds of weird shit.
The script was the fourth volume of TD is The Dark Knight Returns. Like that was what they were using.
Yeah, no, I understand that. That's been a major influence.
I liked Man of Steel. Okay, I think I own it on Blu-ray. It's not the Superman movie I wanted. I've accepted the fact that at least for the immediate future.
Say right after the movie, you said for the first time in our generation, we have a good Superman movie.
Yeah, but then I saw it again. I mean, the thing is this: is it a good Superman movie? I mean, and this is not a conversation I want to get into because I would like to get to bed sometime tonight and not tomorrow morning. But be that as it may, I have no interest in seeing Batman versus Superman. I've read that fucking fight 100 times before. It's not something I'm looking forward to.
Well, I'll go.
Yeah, we're gonna go see Fast and Furious 7. Anyways, we've got plenty of movies to go and see.
We're not gonna go see Fast and Furious 7.
I want to go back to
breaking my heart.
things.
But no, wait. Yes. So what I wanted to say was I wanted to finish the point I was originally
42 minutes
making.
later, cut in that SpongeBob gif of much
later. I would have been done saying what I was going to say if you had just
say it now.
Wow. And also, the thing that pops up on the monitor, I think, is an alarm that Batman has set up to tell him when Superman is coming. It's not like Superman going,
no,
all right, now it's my rave remix.
No, I understand.
But and that's kind of the thing.
That.
But the point I was driving at was like, I wanted more of those moments. I wanted either Superman kicking ass or like something a little bit more comic booky, and it keeps stalling out for me. And so I can't really care about the story, or I can't really care about whether or not Wraith is an actual character or a placeholder, or what the fuck Luthor is doing, or Lois, or whatever, because it all feels very jumbled and convoluted to me.
I have a lot of problems with this story. General Lane is one of the major problems I have with this story. Lois Lane is another major problem I have with this story. Not because of anything that she does, but because Scott Snyder clearly wants to tell the Superman and Lois story, and DC execs are like, you can't do that, and he like keeps trying to sneak it in anyway, and it's kind of irritating.
Just that moment when they're like going to confess their love to each other, and then it's like, okay, bye.
Yeah, like he can't, like they won't let
Tell
him.
my wife I said hello.
That's like that was the perfect moment for them to kiss, and it didn't happen
because DC won't let him do it. So he
there's
keeps
like a
putting it in
DC
anyway.
editorial just standing over his shoulder going,
yeah.
All right.
And they've got cameras at his house on the board, and then as he's drawing, there's like a voice.
Excuse me. Please put them at least a minimum 1 foot away from each other.
And so I'm actually kind of mad at Scott Snyder for like trying to pigeonhole it in, because I'm like, if they're not going to let you do it, don't half-ass it. Yeah. Like either put the real thing in or just fucking leave that somewhere else. And so I was mad about that. And then it's just like there's so much extraneous information in this story. I feel like this could have made a tighter 6-issue story that was more action packed, that was cool. I really like Wraith as a character because I feel like he's a misdirect. I feel like you're meant to think he's Doomsday. You're meant to think he's like this wise thing, and then you realize like he doesn't really have it figured out. Like General Lane's kind of tricked him.
And I actually didn't see the whole betrayal in the Fortress of Solitude coming. Like I was being relatively worried, but by the time I got to that part in the book, I was like, oh, well, maybe they're going to connect. I mean, like, Wraith's giving him the whole, like, I'm going to have to kill you in, like, 10 minutes. But I was not expecting him to literally be like, oh, hey, by the way, kaboom! Like, oh,
and then
shit.
I liked the Luthor gives him the serum to, like, make him super strong and is like, look, this is how you go out. I'm going to make you a hero. Okay. And then Superman's like, all right, this is what I have to do because I am a heroic character. I'm going to go do it. And then I liked those beats. I just wish they were a little bit better.
I have a question about Wraith.
You know what I mean? There could have been a little bit more setup there.
I feel that way about the whole fucking story.
I have a question about Wraith. I have a couple of questions.
Yeah.
My first questions is, what the fuck is that red shit that's just always over him?
It's like Dragon Ball Z lightning bolts.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. It's just cool.
Like,
it's
power.
I
feel like
power.
I felt like they were going to be like, Wraith is a Super Saiyan 4 Kryptonian.
Well, they kind of, I mean, it's not a good explanation in the sense of like, oh, well, I'm totally just whatever.
Yeah.
But you can infer, because the whole reason that Superman takes him to the center of the earth, right, is because it turns out that Superman realizes all of his powers are like magnetic field based.
Absolutely.
So if like the whole thing is that, because he makes these drop, like, again, right, like I'm digging through this material that I'm not sure I want on my hands, but I'm like, but the diamonds are so shiny. And you know, like he does do this good job of like, you know, like Wraith mentions offhand, I'm from a planet, it was on a red sun, and Superman like sees it in his astronomy thing, and he's like, oh, okay, but so I'm getting a sense of why you can do this stuff, and like, you know, and Wraith says like you'll get stronger as you're here longer. However, there may be things that you can't do because I'm from where I'm from, and there are things that clearly you can do, because he pulls a couple of them on me. He's like, clever. Like I didn't think I could, you know, I didn't think I could do that, or I can't do that. So I mean, yeah. So all of that to be saying that part of the implication there could be that basically because he's super sun-drenched for years of being around, and if his powers are like quote-unquote energy-based, that he has kind of a constant keening off. Or if the case is, sorry, I have to say this, if the case is like, you know, he can become invisible, because that's one of the ways he explains having been places that he is because he can make himself invisible because of the spectrum. Maybe he's just decided to upgrade to the full tier subscription package with the extra particle effects constantly, where he's like, if people can see me, I'm going to make sure they fucking can see me.
This is the extra skin.
Yeah,
exactly. which actually leads me to my second question.
Protuberance.
Yeah. Does Wraith wear clothes?
No.
Because at one point he has a hood that doesn't seem to be connected to anything.
It's just part of alien
does
physiology.
anybody ever remember when
he has a bulge, yet he has no apparent genitalia?
I always got the impression that there was kind of an armored edifice around him, because in the scene where he
is that like a carapace?
Crash lands, kind of. That's what I thought, like an armor or carapace.
I think it's a carapace.
Because when he crash lands, it looks like he's much smaller.
Yeah. There was like a Swamp Thing type of deal where you can like make himself different. He's like he kind of reminds me of like a mix between like Swamp Thing and
a Martian?
Martian Manhunter, right?
Yeah.
Like where he's just kind of like
Swamp Thing Manhunter.
He can change his shape. He's got all this extra shit
he
coming off of
alters
him.
the
or
particles
whatever.
around him.
Yeah.
I found myself looking at his character design over and over and over again, and going, "What is
what
this?
the fuck
Yeah.
is that?
I mean,
What the fuck is that?"
Yeah.
Well, and I think the other reason that his appearance was sour for me was I was thinking about J. Michael Straczynski's Superman Earth 1, where it's like another like kind of big, creepy, bulky, in that
Yeah.
case, insane clown posse looking guy. It's like, why is Superman's history and canon so bereft of iconic characters and powerful figures that you couldn't repurpose one of them to have had this backstory, or that you couldn't like that you have to introduce new characters that are all kind of like
because a lot of the characters that mattered in the Superman canon pre-Crisis have been introduced in a different way.
Sure.
In the New 52, so you can't use Darkseid, who is like.
Right, and that wouldn't have worked here.
Right.
That would have been a good fit.
But then Doomsday,
even...
it comes up later. Like, they were saving Doomsday for an event. And then, like, all the other ones have showed up already, but, like, in much less intimate... Like, Metallo had already come and gone. Parasite had already come and gone.
Right.
There's, like, so many characters I feel like they kind of
But there's tons, like Vartok, there's tons of obscure, powerful metahumans from space that have shown up in Superman canon. Like, why
isn't
not...
that a comic book I can go and buy?
Vartok,
again-
Obscure, powerful metahumans from space.
But then again, why, though?
Wait, yeah.
This is a brand new... And this is, I guess, going back to what you said earlier, which is, like... You don't like rereading the young Superman, like, trying to figure the game out again because you feel like you've already read that. And I totally agree. Like, this should be a reboot, not a retelling. Like, yeah, they rebooted the universe, which gives you the opportunity to do anything with Superman, not the same things again.
And I guess that's the
Superman.
problem, is that because they've muddied the water so distinctly about what things have happened and what hasn't happened, is this a reboot or rematch, that it's this kind of like, I constantly feel adrift in the mythos now.
Oh, absolutely.
Which, I mean, you can never rely completely on a comic's mythology. I mean, shit, look at what's going on with the events this summer now.
Right.
I mean, like, the whole point is to make you feel unsteady constantly with the idea of continuity. But
Well, even with true historical myths, there were lots of different versions.
right.
Yeah.
So, like, there's, and it's like, it's, so at
I
the end of the
guess,
day,
why
all
not
I'm-
new characters, though?
Yeah, well, I think for me, what it comes down to is that with that specific phenomena is that all ties back for me into that issue of tone and consistency and everything else. Like, you're going to make a new character. Like, you know what? I think you articulated this very well when you were talking about like the whole solar bomb formula, and then Wraith takes it from him. You issue the first 6 issues, the first 6 issue series that is only about the techno terrorists and the arrival of Wraith. Like, Wraith is kind of the capstone arrival of the denouement of that process, right? Like, even maybe the end of that is Wraith, after having initially met Kal, being like, now you're going to give that to us, and he's like, no way. And then they fight, and whatever like end a resolution there. So now Wraith is an established presence. Then you go for 6 issues, and it's like Lex Luthor's stealing Jimmy Olsen. He's breaking from prison. This thing is happening. Then you have that. And then at the end of that, maybe, like, you could drop the Wraith bits in a different way,
Yeah, this
thematically.
feels like the Scott Snyder run of Superman compressed into 9 issues.
Yeah, it's like it either should have been way expanded to make things have the right sense of beat to them. Like, and we've talked about this before with other books where it's like it should have been shorter, it should have been longer. But this book really suffers, I think, from the fact that its beats are all weirdly jammed together.
Yeah.
And so I walk away being like, great, you made a new character, and I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Oh, he had such a heroic ending. I don't care because he showed up only.
But it doesn't feel heroic because he's got no reason for it.
But it's not only that. Like, I feel like there was a reason if I go back and like, because I read this twice,
Right.
because I was just like, because I was kind of surprised because I like Jim Lee, I like Superman, I like a lot of the shit. Like, I like Superman in Kryptonian super armor showing up with those things,
like
Kasara Garma, and like ripping through like black hole tanks. I'm like, yeah, that was stupid to show up there, guys. You know, like, I liked the beats. I liked the beats of him like taking Wraith into the thing and him having like the Phantom Zone Zoo, like all that shit.
Yeah,
super cool. And so
Lois in there too. Like,
yeah.
that shows so much pathos. I think with Superman that was lacking in the New 52. Is like, He went out and found stray alien dogs,
Yeah,
basically, and
and
took
like-
them
yeah.
in.
Right.
And I like Superman
It's
more
like
now
the
because he
world's
likes
biggest,
stray dogs.
like outer space kennel.
Yeah.
Although there has been comment that that particular beat of Superman is particularly problematic right now during Convergence, when he's basically arguing with Brainiac about going out and preserving the last remnants of any given reality in bottles.
Yeah.
And so it's like, yes, Brainiac,
Well-
how dare you take people and
Well,
keep
to
them...
be fair, Kal-El's not dogfighting in his basement with them, though.
No, and
Not that we
Brainiac
know of.
is.
well, it turns out he
for
was.
no reason. I don't want to talk about Convergence.
Anyway. But anyway, so my issue is it's like I don't have a problem that they made a new character.
Right.
I have a problem that it feels like one of the de facto solutions to a Superman problem,
Mm-hmm.
where it's like, well, we don't really know how to tell a good story, so new character. Like I feel like that happens a lot with him.
Oh my God, yes.
I mean, but that's how you get characters like... Because, I mean, like, even the Joker... Had they killed the Joker in that first issue of Batman that he appeared in, which was the original plan, like, it would have felt exactly like that. But the fact that you leave enough doors open so that when you're creating your brand new universe that you've just rebooted, you've left enough doors open, enough toys to play with that later down the road, someone else could come back and tell a Wraith story. And, like, that's how continuity grows. And
Yeah, no, I understand that, but there are...
the New 52 always felt like there was no future for it because
Yeah.
of how many doors they were shutting, like, almost immediately.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the sense I have here, is that it's kind of like we made him and now he's gone. And like think about, like, good writers can do the gymnastics work to
Right.
get a character out of death.
Oh,
I
sure.
mean, and even bad writers just punch walls of the universe. I mean, God,
Yeah, right.
that'll leave a stain on us for the rest of time as comic book readers. But it's just that thing where it's like, yeah, guy went supernova in the middle of an alien armada. I'm going to have a hard time understanding how he walks back from that. And it's certainly, even if you do manage
Unless
to
he
do that
comes back as
later...
a being of pure energy.
Oh, yeah. And maybe he splits into two forms, blue and red.
Yeah. The awesome.
Whoa, man, you're totally blowing my mind
I
right
know.
now.
no,
but,
we've already seen the Red Wraith. We haven't seen Blue Wraith.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
right. So, yeah. But
Is he going to
you're
come
right.
back
It's
with
like,
a mullet?
Yes.
Because then I'll totally buy it.
And
That's
a
how you know
hollow
that
foil
somebody was
cover.
dead. Is when you see him with a mullet, it's like, oh, he's back from the dead.
And there's other weird things that I think just made it feel disjointed. Like the amount of exposition feels almost old timey.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's like, I brought you to the center of the earth, Wraith, because I knew
Yeah.
that your planet was made from iron. Like, okay, Cal, is he really going to stand there and listen to you while you're
At
doing
the
that?
beginning, there were all these great, like...
Interior monologue
Right,
things.
where he's like, I'm going to do this building, and then this and this. And then later, like, what could have easily been like, I've brought him to the center of the earth where the iron from whatever will
Yeah,
disrupt his
he's-
magnetism.
he-
Well, he's just beating the
Expository.
living tar out of Wraith. That would have been, like, a way cooler scene. You're
Well,
right.
but
Like,
I do. There is a part of that scene that I like where he's talking about how if you just work alone and you're invisible. And
Yeah.
like that
Sure.
seemed very
And
Superman
and like,
to me.
Of the 37 paragraphs he said
Yeah.
to Wraith, if he had
It's
interior
like-
monologued 25 of them and then said those 7,
Yeah.
this is your problem, Wraith. You don't, you don't know how to fight on your own. You're used to having a bunch of tanks behind you. Like that. That's a great line, but it feels overly burdensome when it's like, and this is why
Yeah,
I brought
it's
you.
the
And this is
18th,
what's
yeah.
going on, and this is why I hit. And by the way, you suck in a fight.
That
Lie.
actually reminds me of an actuarial problem that I had with this comic.
I'm sorry, we're having a technical problem. I don't think we can hear you for the next however long you talk about actuarial problems.
Well, no, when Batman is fighting Wraith and he throws all of the Batmobiles at him and he's like, they're insured. He's
Yeah.
like,
Who's insuring them?
who is insuring
Wayne-
those Batmobiles?
Well, they're developed
Wayne
by
car,
they developed
obviously.
their R&D for Wayne Tech. So
Right,
like, obviously
so-
you insure your R&D
like,
model.
yeah.
are those
Lucius,
are
I've got a
those on the
really
books?
problematic.
Yeah.
What insurance adjuster is he going to get down in the Batcave to look at all his wrecked up
Actually,
Batmobiles and go?
so-
you're going to need to send that check care of Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
So
No
actually,
reason.
so actually,
that's
when-
why he has Batman Inc.
Right.
Well,
Which does exist in the New 52.
Does
and
it?
also, yeah, because fucking anything they want exists in the New 52. There was a Batman Inc. New 52 book, which I was like, how are you doing this right away?
It seems like such a ridiculous line to
because
me.
I've been Batman for 20 years, except 5.
yeah.
Right.
How are all
I'm
your
Batman.
Robins
I can-
dead already?
Don't you guys
That's
know?
the worst part.
Don't you know that Batman unlocked the time cube, so he has 4
No.
days in every one
No,
day?
That's not it.
It's the Mobius chair.
It's
He's got
that
Metron's chair.
in the New 52, the Earth is further away from the sun, so a year is actually 5 years.
Ooh, that would actually be a
That's-
good explanation if they.
That's what it is. Duh.
And that's why Superman's
I
not
can't
strong,
Listening
because
to
they're
Andy
further
Dio
away
or
from the
Jeff
sun.
Johns.
Yep,
and
exactly.
please, Jeff Johns, take over the company.
Yeah.
Explain it like that.
Yeah. No shit.
I did want to bring up one thing more about tone.
Sure.
Where you were bringing up the analogy of where Marvel was this universe in which the superheroes were not the trusted ones. I think you have to look at the creative team of DC right now to see Dan DiDio has wanted DC to be Marvel for years.
But
And
not
so
the
now-
good Marvel.
No,
Well, clearly not with who he decided to hire.
But
right?
he's got like Tom DeFalco's there. Like,
Oh, no, totally.
Jim Lee was drawing
Bob
X-Men back in
Harris.
the day.
He
Bob
wants,
Harris is
he
back.
wants
Like,
Scott Lobdell.
Yeah,
he wants 90s Marvel.
Marvel, and it's not a surprise
Feels,
to
and
me.
this book feels incredibly 90s to me in so many ways. The
Yeah.
armor, the
Yeah.
the giant muscly dude with the energy mohawks.
Don't talk shit about energy mohawks, all right, motherfucker?
Did I miss a guy with an energy?
No,
mohawk?
Ray.
He's an energy mohawk.
Well, he's got like all these red lines flying over his head.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
I didn't.
Mohawks.
I didn't interpret that as energy mohawk, but okay,
Anyway.
I hear you.
We're not giving you energy mohawk.
Fine.
The council is convened.
Strike that from the record, please.
That's right.
No, I mean, I think you're right. I think this is very much like
Like
they want a world in which the average people don't trust superheroes. And to be honest, I would love to see that as an Elseworlds in DC, because it's not an idea that wasn't explored at DC very much. But for that to be your line-wide house
Right.
style for 5 years,
well, it doesn't
I
even
feel
matter
like
how
that's
many years.
overkill.
Like if you tell me like this is the Superman, like he is feared by the general population, the government is hunting him. I was like, when did Superman become the Hulk? Like that's not Superman.
Well, it's the new Superman, and I don't have a problem with like the new Superman. It's just like you have to go the whole way. You have
Yes.
to go. The whole universe is new. Everything's new. We're not
Right.
recycling old elements. We're
which
going to
is-
tell brand new, different stories.
Right.
They didn't do that.
And at that point, like you've essentially created different characters. Like, why are you even calling them Superman and Batman if they're
Because you own the property.
if they're new, completely
they
different
sell
characters.
comic books.
Well, I don't. Yes, like you could be super cynical. I think.
But I
think
mean, like the
That's the new
there's
character.
two-
that they should
yes, but
take.
like here's the thing. Tony Stark was a
exactly what I was
drunken,
gonna say.
stupid,
Ninny.
aimless fucking
Womanizing.
moron.
And he had a
for-
perm.
for a long time. Everybody likes to look back idyllically at Robert Downey Jr. and be like, Iron Man's been an awesome character forever. No, fuck you.
No,
he wasn't
he
cool
wasn't.
until 2003.
He had a perm.
Yeah.
I cannot impress
Like his
upon
most
you how
defining
uncool
character arc
is.
was that he kept picking up a fucking bottle of whiskey. Whoop-de fucking do. Like this is the thing, is that there are
Twisted Toy
like,
Theater Iron Man, best Iron Man.
yeah, he is a great Iron Man, actually.
He
I
is
mean,
the
like
best Iron
Sam
Man.
Wilson has been an incredibly flaccid character where he's like,
with a
hey,
shitty costume.
with a shitty costume
True.
and kind of a shitty like I mean for all intents and purposes, like, you're a superhero. He's like, yes I am, and all you do is follow around another superhero. Yes I do. Like, why don't you do your own thing? And except occasionally he'd get I remember this miniseries that was inked or drawn by Rob Liefeld with the Falcon. It was so strange. It was very bad. Anyway, it just popped into my head.
Very bad. and
So it's like I
strange.
think that's an incredibly narrow, and like there are plenty of, what I'm trying to get at is there are plenty of characters who've been completely and fundamentally tweaked, altered, changed to different characters, reinvented, that you absolutely fucking adore, but just
Captain
because you
Marvel.
don't happen to like these ones,
Captain
Marvel,
Marvel.
you know, like. And I think that's fair that you don't like it, but I don't think you should be like, well, then they should have named them a different character.
Well, here's the
Iron
thing,
Fist.
is that I don't-
Iron Fist.
Iron
Matt
Fist.
Fraction and Ed Brubaker radically and drastically changed Danny Rand into that character. And I'm going to say he's better than the old
He
one.
is
yeah, I
and that's
absolutely
fine,
agree.
but you have to
He
you have to
did-
take chances. This Bruce Wayne could have been better than the old one.
He
could have
been.
But he could have been.
Oh, he totally could have been.
Danny Rand has never had the visibility or notability of a Batman or a Superman.
But
like
just
when you're
because they're
reinventing
not-
Batman
I mean-
or Superman, that is a radically different proposition than reinventing Vibe.
Well, I will say this though. Superman has been. I mean, Batman not as much, but Superman's been actually. We tend to not remember the fact that he's been fiddled with a lot.
A lot.
Yes.
Yeah.
He was killed. He was 4 different people. He was red. He was blue. He was, like.
Well, you had the old TV Superman who couldn't really fly. He would just jump out of windows and land places. You had the serial Superman. You had the animated series,
and
the
his power
Fleischer
set
Superman.
has changed every 10
Absolutely.
years.
Those Fleischer cartoons are
And yet
great.
there
I
are
agree.
certain iconic elements of the character that remain the same from incarnation to incarnation.
I don't think they're the same ones from Incarnation.
Yeah, and I don't think that it's
I think
necessarily...
he's a hero, and he's a heroic character, and he provides people hope. I think that's something that we took out of the modern era, but I think you could get to that point. I would have loved to have seen them start over and go, hey, basically because I love Birthright. I think that's great. I think it was an interesting story, but if you could take Superman back to I know I want to be the beacon of hope for all of humanity, and you send him on a new career path towards Superman, that would have been a fun 5 years of exploration. But
Sure.
if you wanted
to do
bad.
Ultimate Superman, I don't have a problem with that in and of itself.
Yeah.
It's when you are rebooting the character and you're saying this is the Superman, and you're keeping a lot of the baggage, but you're jiggering with certain core elements, like making him an asshole.
Yeah.
That I have a problem.
Well, but that's because, and that's the thing. The problem is not reimagining Superman. The problem is reimagining Superman badly. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
It's not about fucking. You can make anybody Superman. Superman in the New 52 could have been Bob Seger, lead singer of the Silver Bullet Band. Fucking Seltzer. Who fucking cares, right?
Well,
as long as
I care. I don't
and you
think
can
I
write
have.
Superman as an asshole too if you do it well.
Well, sure.
That's
and people have.
So-
but they've called him Supreme
Majestic.
or the Sentry or any of the hundreds of other Superman
was-
Or Batman. Wait,
that we've
No,
had
that's not
over
right.
the years.
Well, and I mean, I think, yeah.
But I think you could call him Superman too. I think it's about, at that point, it's what are you trying to say about the character? Do you have a vision for Superman above grim and gritty and fucking bloody? Is this something you're doing in order to garner attention so that people will buy comic books? Or is this something you are trying to do to explore Superman in a different context?
Can I offer an observation? I don't know how much people have read New 52. You've read a decent amount, Cade, right?
I read a bit of the stuff.
Quite a bit.
So I think what Grant Morrison was trying to do, and I think what DC and Jeff Johns, as creative director, were trying to accomplish was, I think they wanted to find a version of Superman where they could emphasize his alienness slightly, to help create more social tension, to explain why there were probably times where he wouldn't necessarily do what old versions of him would do. And what's happened is that has come across or has been basically lazily executed as him being a dick. Whereas if you read very carefully, like Jeff Johns' original JLA run from the New 52, it seems like really what he's trying to get to is that this is a Clark Kent / Kal-El who is very keenly aware of the fact that he's not human in a way that the other one was much softer about. Mm-hmm. And so when Batman and the rest of them show up and are like, who the fuck are you? He's like, I'm the most powerful person here. It wasn't, in some senses, I don't think it was intended to be an asshole move. It was intended to be almost otherworldly, I am clearly a being of immense power.
Yeah.
And you can't touch me.
Yeah.
Go on. Reframing it. Because they did this a lot with Majestic before Infinite Crisis, was he actually crossed the Wildstorm universe barrier and ended up in the real thing. And there was a lot of work done to kind of backwalk the fact that he was just kind of arbitrarily dickish and kind of paint the reality that he was from a warrior tribe. And so he tended to look as every problem was a nail and he was the hammer.
Right.
That kind of a thing. And so I feel like there was an attempt to slide that into Kal-El's personality. And instead it's now become he's kind of a dick, but I don't think that was necessarily overtly the intention.
I think it's also an interesting examination of the fact that I'm pretty sure, and I could be wrong about this, but in the New 52, Pa Kent was dead way earlier.
Right.
And so he wasn't really raised by Ma and Pa Kent. He didn't have the down home good
as much of
family
it
values.
Well, he had some, but And so, like, there's beats in this where it's like it's clear that he's trying to, like, he connects back with that. Mm-hmm. And so I could almost see this as being, if the intention of this story is, it's weird beats aside, was to kind of provide a transition ground from kind of alienating Superman back to kind of warm and lovable Superman. Mm-hmm. I could see where this might be trying to do that, right? Like he's like, because the very last panel is him jumping off the silo like he did as he was a kid, but this time with joy. Yeah. And it's like, and actually that was one of the few times where I was like, yeah, that's the Clark Kent that I like.
Yeah,
right.
And like, and I understand that's my baggage too. It's like I like happier Superman.
See, I guess for me, okay, I used to say I would never read a New 52 book. People got me interested in them. I started with Court of Owls, Night of Owls.
You've read the Wonder Woman, right?
Some of it. I
don't.
The Zero issue was weird for me, and that kind of turned me off.
Yeah, but remember, the Zero issue came out after issue 13.
Yeah.
So that's a year into the New 52 that they decided to put Zero issues out.
Yeah, which was weird.
Gross.
Need money.
I guess, okay, a while back, people were really talking about the Dan DiDio versus Jeff Johns New 52. That they had the two places. One was in L.A., one was in New York, and they were writing different books very differently.
Yeah.
And I feel like this was one of the books, along with Jeff Johns, John Romita, Superman, where they were kind of like, let's show Dan DiDio that people don't necessarily want the New 52 continuity. Let's write Superman Unchained, leave out the Wonder Woman business.
Yeah.
Look, it's got Lois. I mean, they can't do much because we still have Papa DiDio looking over us. But let's sell some comic books that don't have anything to do with that. And I think...
Yeah, because people were tired of the New 52 Superman already.
Yeah. And so I think...
3 years in.
I think for me, this is like a shining beacon of hope. Like, these people that work at DC can actually still write.
Well, and they care about the character in a way that it didn't appear like they did at the beginning. And also, I've heard from several writers I've talked to about early on in the New 52 was it wasn't like there were story Bibles passed down,
right?
Like a universe Bible.
And that was the
kind of
part of the problem.
Do whatever you want. And so you have guys like Grant Morrison trying to emphasize the alien nature of Superman, and yet you have George Perez writing Superman at the same time, who's literally emailing Grant Morrison all the time going, what are you doing in your book? And Morrison's not responding to his emails.
Right.
So Perez is like, I guess I'll just do this.
Yeah, I mean,
and it was just like a giant clusterfuck right out of the gates.
Well, and that's why you can, and like, this is why I've never been completely like, no 52 books, blah, because like for those writer teams or those who had, or those editing teams that had their stuff together better, like Jeff Johns, like, and the Green Lantern books.
Jeff Lemire stuff, Animal Man and Green Arrow were both great.
Yeah, like, I mean, but there's been like the whole issue that I've always felt with the New 52 wasn't that there was nothing redeeming about it, is that it was really hard to figure out which of the 52 different titles, which ones you were supposed to invest your time in. So that was my process, was like I started reading all 52, and then I was only reading 49 after the first week, and then I was only reading 47 different titles, you know, like.
Well, and sometimes you would find a book that was good, like I was really enjoying Earth 2, and then 13 issues in, they're like, there's a red lantern at the core of the planet, and I was like, fuck this book.
Yep.
And then you just end up dropping it because its New 52-ness was like encroaching on your enjoyable part of the universe.
Demon Knights was great. Birds of Prey was fucking... The New 52 Birds of Prey was better than the old 52 Birds of Prey. I mean...
I think if...
They put fucking Black Canary in body armor, and Poison Ivy would like fucking bark up before... Like, grow bark armor before she would go and fight people. I was like, oh my god, yeah, she controls plants. Why the fuck wouldn't she do that?
I think, conversely, if you had stuff like Marvel doesn't do that. They don't mire their Marvelness all over the other books. Like if suddenly, you know, 12 issues into Ms. Marvel, they were like, planetary incursions, you need to decide if you're going to destroy a world. It's like, that's not the tone of Ms. Marvel.
Well, you say that now, but they did. Like, one of Toby and I's big kind of disagreements is that, like, Dark Reign was that.
Well, but they're not doing it now.
No, they're not doing it now, but they have, right? And, like, you know, like, and this is the thing, is that I think there are people who are walking away from New 52 right now, or who are in it, who are like, I like the way that this is kind of permeating everything. We're just like, I liked that Marvel did Dark Reign. I liked the fact that it was, like, kind of a shitty world where everybody was kind of, like, scrabbling around and not having a great time.
I think it's important to note that Dark Reign was the end of the Joe Quesada editor-in-chiefdom at Marvel.
Right.
Whereas now Axel Alonso's in charge, and they're not doing that. And I think that that's a very specific shift in management style.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that whenever Dan Didio gets...
We're going to be stuck with him for another 10 years.
I hope not.
No, it's my curse in life.
Yeah. See, I think that there's...
Not just yours. Not just yours. I've been putting up to... I've been dealing with Dan DiDio since the 90s.
I think that there might be some, you know, we'll see, right? Post-Convergence and the ramp up to WB trying to get its hands on its, you know, hands wrapped around its properties properly, and now that they will all be in the same place.
Have you read Convergence?
I've read pieces of it, but I mean, like, that's already done, right? And that's the thing, is that if Convergence completely implodes, because this is his brain trust, right? Like, he kind of had this idea, and it's already turning out that he basically fucked over a bunch of people and a bunch of things that, like, it was all advertised as like, hey, some of your favorite characters are going to be back and around. It's like, actually, no, they're not really going to be. We're just going to kind of have them on the periphery. Like, there's already tons of people upset with what's going on here. Yeah. Like, that guy can't get away with that forever, especially once he finally comes back to the court that he's been, you know, like, he's been on the other coast. There's been a lot of other extenuating circumstances where he could be like, oh, well, you know, it's so complicated. There's all this stuff happening. And, yeah, we're going to get it together, all this stuff. But there's a part of me that's like, you're not going to be able to do that when the WB execs are literally like 10 doors down the hall and they call you every day in to talk to them face to face and are like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, hopefully they're doing that.
So,
but
they might be just, you know, counting their stupid piles of money.
I think
and doing cocaine.
This is a book I wanted to talk about because it very much exemplifies all the problems of the New 52, in that it could have been something, it wasn't. There's too much of some stuff, not enough of most of the other stuff. And then
really
it's very mired in its New 52-ness. And
it really is the New 52 in a microcosm. It really, really is.
So, I don't know. I think it was worth discussing at least. But
my feelings on this do mirror my feelings about the New 52,
absolutely.
which are like, meh.
Yeah.
That was a thing that happened.
And as much as I like this, which is not a ton, but I do like this, but mostly as it was a sign of things were changed. Things were not going to be the way they used to be.
Right.
So, I don't know.
I did like one thing about this book.
What did you like?
It reminded me how much I like the pairing of Batman and Wonder Woman.
Yeah. They're cool together, right?
I don't want to talk about that.
That should always be a thing.
I agree.
It should always be a thing.
And in the New 52, they have a Superman Batman book, a Superman Wonder Woman book, but they don't have a Batman Wonder Woman book.
No, because they're jerks and they hate happiness.
I don't just mean as a crossover. I mean, I think that they should be a couple.
Yeah, Grant Morrison teased us with that in fucking JLA, and then we got the worst fucking resolution of that ever.
I try not to ship. I try and keep my shipping on the DL.
Mm-hmm.
That is my OT.
It's a match made in heaven. It really, really is. But we'll never see it.
I mean, I'm on.
Oh, I'm going to on the off chance.
I'm on team. What is it? Batcat. I'm on team Batcat. But only because
I'm on team Bander Woman. Wait,
yeah. But
Wonder Bat.
But
Wonder
I like them.
Wonder
as,
Man? No, that's not good.
I like them as teammates, and I like them as people who love and trust each other.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's so important to the Justice League.
I love their dynamic together.
They've got a great dynamic,
regardless of whatever romantic bullshit you want to throw in.
Yeah.
So before we do recommendations, because we're wrapping up here.
Yeah.
Yes.
I want to ask this. Curbotron the other day texted me and said, what heroes are based in L.A.? And I was like, Well, Avengers West Coast isn't a thing anymore. Is Wonder Man still a thing?
No, he's around, but not really.
He does not have a body anymore.
Yeah, he's in Rogue.
Yep.
Right?
So
I actually asked that on the last podcast. What's up with Wonder Man?
That's true.
So people that are on the West Coast but are no longer. So
Well,
recently, Kate Bishop was.
Not specifically West Coast, but L.A.
Kate Bishop was. Moon Knight was.
Well, the
They both
Runaways
are now
were
back
out
in-
there, weren't they?
All new Ghost
Rider.
Rider Robbie Reyes might be.
I believe he is.
Yeah, he's somewhere in California.
Were the Runaways in?
Yes.
Runaways were, yes.
Okay.
And
But she was like-
the thing specifically about the Runaways was their parents were a cabal of supervillains
The
that were
Pride.
keeping all of the heroes out of California.
Right. Because she was like, she asked me that, and I was like, Wonder Man, I think? I'll have to think of more. She's like, the Avengers? No. Fantastic Four? No. The X-Men? No, they're all in New York. They're all in fucking New York. Everybody's in New York.
The X-Men for a while were in
San Francisco.
That's true.
Daredevil is now in San Francisco.
Yeah.
But that's
Green
not Hell's
Arrow's
Kitchen.
Seattle.
What's that?
Wow.
There's no Hell's Kitchen in San Francisco.
It's Seattle
there's-
that looks and feels nothing like Seattle. Sure.
The New Mutants were in Seattle for a while. Or not Seattle, San Francisco for a while.
They were in Austin, Texas, weren't they? Because that's where Scarlet Spider was.
When's Night Thrasher?
No,
gonna
not
move
New
to Portland?
Warriors. New
Oh, I'm
Mutants.
sorry. I was thinking of the... Yeah, you're right.
He would have to
New
take up
Warriors.
skateboarding because that's the only thrashing he would be doing.
Didn't Transformers land in Los Angeles
Wait,
sometime?
Night Thrasher?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why he's called Night Thrasher. Skateboarding.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. I'm
Yeah,
not
he used to
kidding.
ride around on a skateboard. Oh, you didn't know this?
No, he did not. No, he did not. I'm not even going to fucking... This is ridiculous. Recommendations. Go.
All right, Joe.
All right, Joe.
Go ahead.
I'm bringing back... We haven't talked about Chew yet.
No, we haven't.
not.
So I'm bringing Chew. By...
All right, Brant's calling an audible.
Yeah, well,
Joe.
that was my image book this week. So thanks
Was
a lot.
it really?
No.
Jesus Christ.
Why are you saving that for a long run? That's like 40-something.
Oh, come on.
Brant, do you want my backup book?
49
Nope,
or
I have a
50
backup
now.
book.
Okay.
All right, go
I
ahead.
can do
Go
it back.
ahead,
No,
Joe.
I'm going to do Chew. I'm going to do Chew because Kirby asked me to do it.
Yeah, it's
and
good.
it's
many
good.
volumes?
And we'll do the first... I think the first 3 are good. They're narrow volumes.
Yeah.
They're not... It's
I
like
think they're
4
5
episodes
issues.
or 5
Yeah.
issues. So we'll do the first 3. Chew is a cop in a world where there's no poultry allowed because of avian flu. And he's a chibopath. He can basically trace the origin of anything he eats. And
Named after Sonny Chiba.
no, not at all. Named after Sonny Chiba. I wonder, prompting on Joe to think, what would Toby sound like if I shoved this mic stand up his ass? Anyway,
Probably the same.
Are we done with
Chiba coming
done
from...
with the throwing?
Yeah,
A lot of your threats have revolved around throwing things.
I'm not going to throw anymore. Now I'm just
doesn't
going
wanna
to shove
hit me.
things up your ass.
Okay.
Well,
Chiba
sticks
from
in
the
their
Italian
butt?
for food. Fucking ignoramus. And it's great.
Now he works for the FDA.
And now he works for the FDA as a special
Investigating
special
vampires.
agent. Yeah, and it's really it's good. It's funny. Yeah, it's beautifully
Rob
drawn.
Guillory's-
Rob Guillory and I can't remember who. Somebody Layton?
Yeah, John
Layton.
Layman.
Layman?
I think it's Layman.
John Layman. We're gonna go with John Layman.
Name.
And Rob Guillory, and they're
Beautiful.
it's a beautifully drawn book. It's beautifully colored. It's a lot of fun to read. We
Super
should have been
exaggerated animated style.
Yeah, like
I
really
like it.
cartoony. It's just it's a lot of fun. So Chew. Yes.
Awesome.
Cade.
All right, so speaking of sticking things up Toby's butt,
We
Wow.
always are.
Whoa. Time for our new segment, Sticking Things.
What's in
Full
my butt?
circle back to hentai. Cade,
It's a tentacle.
no, I was just reminded of the Gamora line from Guardians of the Galaxy, and that reminded me of my pitch. So one of the reasons I actually was tracking things down on eBay this last week was to fulfill my collection of Rocket Raccoon comics.
Yeah.
Because I apparently have everything from the 80s with the exception of his first appearance in the Hulk.
Nice.
But
what is it up with furry mammals appearing in the Hulk first?
Lots of stuff appeared in Hulk. Abomination, the Wolverine, the Leader, Rocket Raccoon. Apparently,
I'm pretty sure Groot got his start in the Incredible Hulk.
No, Groot's was different, and Groot's origin is actually in this book I'm recommending.
Oh, nice!
Because I found out that there's actually a trade compiling all of the '80s appearances of Rocket and Groot, as well as the Annihilation Rocket and Groot stuff that they had in the back of the issues. Or Annihilators, sorry.
Yeah, these were B stories.
Yes. And so I want to pitch Rocket and Groot, the complete collection, and the first trade of the new Rocket Raccoon series.
By Scotty Young.
Yes, by Scotty Young. And so the first trade is from the 80s, and the second trade is from...
Twofer.
2014.
Yes. And... Oh, I wanted to talk about the differences of Marvel then, Marvel now. I thought that it'd be a great comparison study.
It's like what Brant was talking about Iron Man. It's like you planned this.
He had a perm. I want to be clear on this.
Hey, perms were cool. Actually, at one point, didn't he have like a perm mullet?
Yeah, and a bitchin' mustache.
Totally did.
Oh, yeah.
The bitchin' mustache was cool. Perm.
Was it? Was it
No.
really, though?
His
All right.
his 60s pencil mustache was cool.
No.
The big old
No.
70s bar stash, not so much.
I'm not a fan
That
of
must have gotten really hot
of
in
the
that
solo
helmet.
stash.
Facial
I'm
hair
sure
and
it's,
a
I'm
helmet.
sure it's got
I
air
don't know.
conditioning.
It does. Top of the line.
All right, Cade,
Or
anything
he
else?
flies high enough that it has to... It ices, and that's kind of like...
Oh,
Pulls him
yeah.
down.
And so he doesn't have to use Freon.
There you go.
Oh
Yeah,
my god.
so-
The Iron Man suit is environmentally unsound.
Well, of course, he's a weapons manufacturer.
It's basically just spewing CFCs out all the time.
Nah, he's got some sort of advanced recycling system.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, come on.
Because he does...
It
like-
turns his pee into air conditioner.
Yeah,
It does.
he
It
goes to
does.
the bathroom in his suit.
We
It
assume.
does something weird.
We
All
assume.
right.
For all we know,
do
there are
know-
scenes in between panels where he's ejecting shit from the back end.
He totally
Just
does.
like a train.
Like an
He
airplane.
just flips around, opens the butt panel, just bombs away.
I've had enough of this Iron Man.
So, Brant, what are you pitching?
I wanted to mention something very quickly because I'm noticing that our Brian May in our live stream was talking about it, and I forgot to mention this. So the Batman car insurance thing.
Yeah.
Keep in mind that in most states, if you're incredibly wealthy, what you do is you post a self-insured bond for your own stuff. So rather than actually have an insurance company, you can post basically a bond that says, "Yeah, I got 25 grand sitting in a bank account just in case I happen to get in the middle of an accident." So it's very likely that Bruce Wayne basically does have a series of accounts that are his insurance for his cars. So when he's like, "They're insured," I'll be like, and I'll be replacing them from those accounts. So I just thought that was something worth mentioning.
I mean, that is true.
So you don't think he has Geico?
No, I don't think I don't think that there's some overweight,
definitely got-
overweight guy with the thick glasses sitting in a one-room office
Question.
who's like, "Okay, Mister Wayne,
You just
Do you
broke
think-
our insurance company,
Do you
Mr.
think
Wayne.
that there is an insurance company out there in the DC universe specifically for superheroes?
Yes.
Question of the week, tweeted at us at View FRTH Gutters on Twitter
You know,
and email
I've
us.
actually asked this question before.
Question of the week.
And in the Marvel universe, yes.
Damage Inc.
Civilians can get...
Yeah.
It's damage control.
Yeah,
That's right.
can get
Yeah.
insurance based on acts of supervillainy.
Yeah. So,
I bet the rates in New York
I know
are
that-
fucking horrible.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I
Yeah,
know
totally.
that the JLA offers health insurance. I don't know if they have their own car insurance.
we don't
Yeah,
insure the
because I'm
Invisible
pretty
Jet
sure that
and the-
Hal Jordan needs to insure his fucking Jeep Wrangler.
Yeah, but Buddy Baker might.
Look, Batman, we got to talk. This policy really only benefits you, and we've noticed in your years as CFO of the Justice League, there's been a lot of suspicious activity through this account. I had to throw 17 cars at Wraith. I needed to replace them, and I
I don't have powers. Remember that?
Oh my god, that's every time, right? Every time they're like, "Look, Bruce, you're spending a lot of money. I don't have powers.
I needed another space
I needed another spacesuit. God damn it!"
I swear to God, there needs to be a miniseries team up between the Justice League's accountant and their
Actuary?
yeah, basically like the money men behind the Justice League going like, how are we going to figure this one out?
Isn't that Maxwell Lord? Wasn't he?
Well, not anymore.
Not anymore.
But wasn't he on the JLI?
Well, on the JLI.
Wasn't that
Well,
guy-
yeah.
He was like the money. He put up the money for.
Yeah.
like their accountant and their CFO, basically.
Yeah. I'd love to see it too. We need a fan-made webcomic about that, please.
Yes.
Thank you.
Dear God.
Thank you, everyone listening.
And you can make references to the actual events that are happening in the comics.
Yeah, it'd be great. I love the fan-made DC stuff.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
JL8's great.
It is. So, Brent, what are you actually pitching?
Let's talk about that now.
Please,
I'm pretty
tell
sure
us.
we haven't done this. I've been interested in for a long time and haven't had a chance to read The Umbrella Academy.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Damn it.
No,
We haven't.
I was just gonna say
somebody
that.
brought it.
I was
It
just going to say that
I think
about
I
whatever.
pitched it. I may have pitched it.
I know I've pitched it.
Chard pitched it for sure.
And I think Kaylee
By
did as well.
Gerard Way.
Yep. And Gabriel Ba.
Yep.
Yeah.
I would propose both trades.
Yeah, why not?
Absolutely.
12 issues.
Yeah.
Remind me what it's about very
The main
quickly.
protagonists of the comic are a titular team who are described as dysfunctional family of superheroes. Basically, an extraterrestrial gets a bunch of kids together from an event that causes superheroes to be born, or superpowered people to be born, takes them and grooms them to be superheroes, and then years later he dies.
One day you will grow up to save the world, and
Right.
then they grow up, and
Was
they're
he
like,
played
when
by
does that
Christopher
happen
Lloyd in the
again?
movie?
What?
Yeah, so they leave like 5 kids, and they all grow up with different powers, and they're like, someday you'll save the world, and then they all grow up, and they're like, when is the world
When is
saving
the world
happening?
saving?
And it's kind
Interesting.
of like that, and one of them is a gorilla with a man's head.
So this is an
Great.
adaptation of the classic 2004 Disney film Sky High.
Yes, absolutely. No.
No.
And then in the second volume, there's lots of time traveling and Kennedy's assassination subplots and
you
time
do.
assassins,
Ooh, yeah. Time Assassins.
which are awesome. Yeah, it's cool. It's really wacky if you like stuff like Venture Brothers and
I do.
a dark tone. It's good. I love this book.
All right.
And remember, Gerard Way isn't just a rock star. He was an intern at DC and wanted to write comics. And then the trade towers fell, and he's like, well, I've always wanted to be a rock star, too. I'm going to try that. And then went and became a rock star, and then he went back to comics and was like, I still want to write comics. So,
I think that was a smart choice.
a man of many talents. But Toby.
So I am bringing back a book pitched a couple of times before. It is my favorite non-Spider-Man superhero
Shazam.
and an actually good DC book. I have brought Shazam and the Monster Society of Evil by Jeff Smith. This
We
book
didn't
came
read
out-
this?
Shazam's
No.
my favorite DC
He
superhero.
keeps losing by like one vote.
Yeah.
I think it was pitched on mine and Brant's first episode ever.
Yeah, it could very well be. It's one of my favorite comics. It came out in 2007, right after Jeff Smith finished Bone.
Yeah.
It's a 4-issue out-of-continuity story about Captain Marvel and Mary Marvel fighting Dr. Savannah and the Monster
I'm
Society.
sorry,
of
don't
Evil.
you mean Shazam?
Shazam's in it.
Yeah,
That's how they get their. That's how they get their powers.
Yeah, the Wizard Shazam is definitely in it.
No. I'm talking about the guy with the hood.
There's
Yeah.
no hood.
He's got a half cape.
Oh, and Takitani, the tiger.
Takitani.
is in this.
Yeah, my dad instilled me with a great love of Captain Marvel, and I would really love to read and talk about this book on the show because I think it's great.
Yeah, I prefer Miracle Man, but you know,
Which we should talk about at some point.
yeah.
Well, when you're
Very
done
different,
with your however many weeks of image you've got
Trust me,
left,
there's
you
a
can...
backlog. Now that it's reprinted finally. But yeah, no, I mean,
Yeah, it's a 4-issue series. It retells his origin, but it's
Yeah.
super colorful. It's a lot of fun. Jeff Smith is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what else I can say for it other than vote for it, you animals.
Yeah, bastards.
and this is like a adaptation of the original story, right? Loosely.
It has a few elements from the original story,
Mm-hmm.
but then it goes on to tell its own original story.
Okay. Because wasn't the origin also called Monster Society? Or
No,
was...
the Monster Society of Evil was a 2-year-long storyline in in like Wiz Comics or whatever Captain Marvel was in at the time, like several years after he had been created, which is something that like no comic book had ever done before. Like no superhero comic had done a story that long.
Nice.
Because it's like 2 solid years of the build up to like the Monster Society of Evil and Mr. Mind, the mastermind behind all of it, and like the big reveal that he's this like a little worm.
Mm-hmm.
So it's calling
Wow,
back
spoilers.
to classic stories of the 1940s.
70 years ago.
Hey, still spoilers.
All right.
So yeah, that is the comic that I am pitching.
Awesome.
And I have the really awesome hardcover with a dust jacket, and I got it signed by Jeff Smith.
So I'm booting up the website because I want to read from this. But basically, bringing an image book. Second volume of this is the last issue of the second volume of this came out the day that we're recording this episode. So in a week or 2 weeks, the physical trades will be out of volumes 1 and 2.
I think it's generally like a week.
Yeah, I think it's next week the trade comes out, but all the issues are out now. It's the first 10 issues of a series called Velvet, which is Ed Brubaker and Steve Epting, the team from Captain America Winter Soldier.
We got some of this in the image bundle, didn't we?
I'm sure we did. And this is telling a British spy story. Basically, it says when the world's greatest secret agent is killed, like think James Bond, all evidence points to Velvet Templeton, the personal secretary of the director of the agency. But Velvet's got a dark secret buried in her past because she's also the most dangerous woman alive. She was like a super spy field agent, and then she retired from field work to go train everybody, and then she became the director's secretary because that was like she was really very trusted. And someone's in the agency's mucking around and fucking up with her past and assassinated a guy she cared about. And
Bames John.
Yeah, Bames John, the world's most famous spy. And it's awesome. It's just like fantastic art, like very oil painting looking. Like the colors are very they're digital, but they look like very rich, and just some awesome action, great spy thriller. And it's a period piece too. It kind of flashes between a couple separate time periods. I think mainly the like 60s and then late 70s. I think the time periods. If I can't exactly remember, but it's somewhere in there.
Very Cold War.
Yeah. She was a spy, a field agent spy during like the early days of the Cold War.
Cool.
I think the 50s maybe then. So anyway, it's awesome. I love it. If you like stuff like James Bond, the books, and probably some Greg Rucka kind of spy stuff, check it out. It's pretty sweet.
Good deal. Joseph?
I'm going to choose Velvet.
Cade?
Give me a minute. I just remembered what Joe brought, and I have to think again.
Remind me what Joe brought.
Chew,
that's right. Oh, we also had another pitch.
Oh, yeah.
Before we vote.
Hang on.
Oh, God damn it. I retract my vote.
Retract the vote. Hang on.
We have one of our Patreon fan pitches.
Yes.
From Brian May.
Yes.
Brian, what would you like to pitch this week?
Change Ballast Cotton and Morgan Jeske. It's a Lovecraftian horror nightmare world tale about a man who's writing a screenplay, except he isn't, because this other woman's writing that screenplay. But maybe he's in a destructive relationship with a woman who needs therapy. But maybe not. That might not be happening, but it is. It's definitely as if you took a bunch of Robitussin and then tried to summon an elder god in comic book form. Change. Image Comics. 4 issues or 1-volume trade paperback.
Thank you, Brian, for that
was
excellent pitch.
incredible. That may be one of the best pitches I've ever heard.
Yeah.
You're one of my new favorite people.
Fantastic. We love it. So now, with new information in your head, Joe.
God damn it.
If you didn't catch it, that book was called Change.
Yeah.
I am going to vote for Velvet again, only because I think 4 issues is a little too slim, but I'm definitely going to read the shit out of that book, because that sounds amazing.
I'm going to vote for it. Change.
Yeah. Brant.
I want to give him his due in the limelight here, so I'm going to vote for Shazam.
Thank you. What did you bring again, Brant?
Umbrella Academy.
Umbrella Academy. I'm going to vote for Beretta. No, I'm going to vote for the Umbrella Academy.
Ooh.
Oh, fuck.
Chard?
Well, God, it's a tough choice because I've brought Umbrella Academy before, and I was such a huge fan of this book when it came out. I sold so many copies of this when I worked at Gabby's.
But Robitussin
and Elder Gods. I mean, that's kind of my jam.
Do we have to drink Robitussin before we read it?
Yes.
I don't see why you wouldn't.
It was an accident, but I have done it.
Oh my God, I accidentally did that too. Not Robitussin. It was cold and sinus Dayquil.
No,
I got high as a fucking kite on accident. It was the worst day ever.
I full on okay
because I was very sick. That's why I was taking it. And then, oh my God.
Yeah, I'm not going to go into this on the podcast, but yeah,
I've heard this story.
Mm-hmm.
That shit works. I mean, don't do drugs, but God damn it, that fucked my whole day up. Yeah. Cold and sinus Dayquil.
What you really need to get your hands on is some codeine with Tylenol.
Dextromethorphan?
No, that's what Robitussin.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you really...
Dextromethorphan.
What you really need is the Tylenol 4, man. Because that's got the codeine in it.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Chard, what are you voting for?
God,
less drug trips, more comic book picks.
Man, aren't they the same thing, though?
On the Tentacles and Drug Trip Hour,
tangentially,
we bring you things of Toby's ass and turds with diamonds in it.
God.
We are on fire this episode.
Such a tough choice, because I know we'll bring Umbrella Academy back, though. In fact, I could bring it back later because I've read it. So I'm gonna go with Brian's pick. I'm gonna pick Change.
All right.
So,
thank you, Brian, for that awesome pitch.
Maybe he's not writing it. Maybe
Change.
Change
for the next episode.
Yeah, trade paperback
by some people.
And right now, I
summon an elder god.
Yeah.
And I'm about to change from being here into being in my car driving home.
Yep. So thank you for listening, everyone. Thank you once again to our patrons, and don't forget that question of the week. Tweet at us or email us.
What was the question?
I forgot what it was.
Something about
they just listened to it. Insurance.
Yes.
Can you get superhero insurance in the DC universe?
Yes.
Specifically, if you're a superhero, is there like a plan that you can go on to replace like your batarangs?
Oh, see, I was thinking if you
not
were
from supervillains, but I mean, like, is your gear covered by superhero insurance?
Like renter's insurance?
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
Like if you're a civilian,
but then you don't have to use your civilian name because that would reveal your secret identity.
Various occupations have occupational insurance.
Right.
Superheroes should have occupational insurance.
Yeah.
Who would?
That's what we're asking our listeners.
Co-insurance.
Well, people would insure it because superheroes are providing a service to the community.
I guarantee you that Bruce Wayne has set up an insurance company to provide insurance to other superheroes.
All right, I want to hear.
What do you guys think?
So tweet at us or Facebook us or whatever. Talk to us in some way. And we'll see you guys next time. Thank you so much for listening.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Me From the Gutters. I hope our recommendations have inspired you to go out and find some new comics you'll enjoy. Join us next time for a discussion of our selected title, but like every week, we encourage you to read all of the recommended books. In the meantime, please leave us an iTunes review. It really does help new listeners find the show. You can also like us on Facebook, subscribe to our YouTube, and follow us on Twitter at ViewFRTHGutters. Feel free to email us at contact@viewfromthegutters.com. Please send us any questions, comments, or recommendations you might have. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel as we post new videos every week. And thanks again for listening. And as always, keep reading.